Now that we talked about how to set up our Schoology accounts, it's time to dive in and set up our classes. So let's look at how we can set up a course.
And now we're going to talk about how to create a course, how to build our courses. And I'm going to talk about a couple things there. But before I do that, I realized I didn't, in the last video, talk about this homepage. So when you first sign into Schoology, you're going to see this homepage here, and it's got, first thing you'll see is your recent activity. So any courses you're in or any groups that you belong to, if they post announcements and things, they'll pop up on this page here. You can see I'm in a number of different courses. Or you will see what's called the course dashboard. And this is where you will see all of your courses that you have for the year in their grid form. So you can see all those different things. On the right side of the screen is your calendar notifications area. So if you have anything upcoming or overdue, you can see those at a glance, so you know what you need to get done. If you're not involved in a course that's from another course itself as a student, then you won't really see any overdue assignments because you yourself won't have assignments to do, but you will see all these upcoming things that are happening, assignments that are due dates for your students and things like that, so that you know what is coming and you know that your students are staying up to date. The students also see this on their page, and so they can see what is upcoming. They can turn in their assignments by just clicking on it. It takes them right to the link, and they're able to submit what they need to submit. It will tell them when it's overdue, so they can understand if something is late, but it's still submittable. If they can't submit it because you turn that off, then they'll just see that it's overdue and they missed an assignment, then they can have that conversation with you. But we are going to focus on creating a course. So we're not going to build a course from scratch, because as a member of the enterprise with Schoology, our school already gives us our courses. They customize, they do that for us. So they should be pushed at the beginning of the year when schedules are created. You will see all of your courses here. Since we don't have courses yet, I built my own custom course so you guys can see the experience. Before I get there though, if you do want to create a course, and I'll create a video later on for those that do want to do that, if you go in the courses tab here on the top, you can click on My Courses, which is here on the right side of the screen. And then you're able to either join a course, if you are joining a course from another school or another teacher or something else. You can create a course and then you can call it whatever you want. You can add section titles, you can give subject areas, grading periods, you can do all that, and you'll have your own course. That's how I created the course that we're going to work in today. From this page, you can also order your courses. So if you notice on your course page, they're in a select order. You can change that order to make it more convenient. So if you have priority courses that you want to see more regularly, you can reorder them by just dragging them and putting them where you want them to be in your order, so that you can access them more easily and you can see them and they're at your fingertips, so to speak. So that is the course page. Again, that was if they clicked on courses and I went to the My Courses in the top right corner. So we're going to go into the course that I created. So when you first sign in, it will not look like this. You won't have any folders here. You won't have any pictures. So the first thing you want to do is customize the framework of your course. So I always start by having a picture. So you can find a picture online. You can create your own picture. You can Google image, do whatever you need to do. I always use Adobe Express and create my little logos, but you go to edit picture just like you did for your profile picture. They do have some select ones here that you can throw in there. I don't necessarily recommend that, because if you have multiple teachers using these images, then they're going to see the same image over and over again. It's not going to make your course easily identifiable for your students. So I recommend a custom logo just for that sake. It also helps you to find your courses a little bit easier, and I'll show you that in a second. So you add your picture and then you'll dump it in there. You can edit your thumbnail. If let's say you have a bigger picture, you can say where you want the thumbnail to be, and you will just crop it and then it will fit there. So that saves automatically. You don't have to click a save button. It's already there for you. And you can see my picture is already there. So the reason I said before your pictures are important is because you may have the same type of course, a number of periods. On your Schoology page, it will give you the course code, which if you're a person that memorizes those, bless you. I am not a person that memorizes the codes that fit in our systems. So I had to put a custom picture so that I would know that this is my first period general paper course and not my second period general paper course. It helped me to keep track of which period is what course. So I recommend making a custom picture for each, or putting a number in your picture somewhere, which you can easily do with any type of photo editing app, a Canva, Adobe Express. You could probably even do it in just about anything. Just add a number in there, so you can see your period at a glance, and it's not so much as, oh, is this fourth period, is this fifth period, because it's not super simple to see that. So the picture makes that a lot easier. So let's go back into our course. So the next thing I do when I'm building my courses at the beginning of the year is I set up my folders, the structure that I want for my class. So you can see I've already created some folders in here just from the other videos that I've created. So what I would do is I would say, okay, is this a course that would be productive to do units? If that's the case, then I would build out unit folders, and I would click on add materials, which is right here on the top, click on add a folder, and then I'll call it what I want. So if I want to say unit 1, let's say geology, I don't know, I'm just making up random things. You can choose a color for your folder. And you can put a description if you want to. So you can say, this is where we will study the rocks. You can set a date when you want the folder to be accessed. So if you're setting everything up at the beginning of the year, you can quite literally set the dates as to when they're released. So you don't have to think about them. They'll automatically be published to your students in a date. So I'm going to say, okay, this is the first day of school. So I'm going to go into August the 17th. I'm going to say 7:30 a.m. You can change the settings here to do a couple of things. One, it can be unpublished, which means your students won't see it. 2, you can have it published, which means they can see it, access it, and use it right on the spot. The next thing you can do is publish on the start date. That's like I mentioned before. So if I want them to access the specific file on a certain date, then I'll click on publish on a start date. And that way it'll only release on that day. I don't have to wake up early and open it for them. That's very good for, let's say you have a substitute for you for a day, and you don't want your students to access the work beforehand. You can have it published on that date so it's accessed right when they get into the class period, so you know they're working only in that class period. And the next thing you can do is have it published during a date range, which means it will close out after a specific time. So again, like a day when you have a substitute, you only want the students working in that folder during the class period. You can set the time so that it only publishes during that time, and then it unpublishes after that time. So some customizable. So I usually use publish on the start date, and I leave things open just for the sake of students who need to make up work. Create our folder, and it is there for us. You can see it'll always go to the bottom of the page. If I ever want to reorder, I just have to simply click on the folder, and I can drag it up and put it wherever I want it to go. So if I wanted the first one, I'll make it the first folder there. I'll show you all in later videos how to add all these images to our folders. There's some extra stuff you can do in Schoology, but just to get you started, the bare basics is getting up your setup of your folders. And so in Unit 1, I may break these down into subfolders and talk about, I don't know anything about geology, so I picked a very poor subject, but I could do sedimentary rocks. I think that's part of geology. Pick a color for it. Again, I can put a date, or this time I don't want to put a date. And you'll notice it won't allow you to choose the availability within a folder if the folder itself doesn't publish on a start date. So it won't let me choose to publish this because they can't get into the folder to get to it. So for folders within folders, you're not going to be able to change those. You're not going to be able to customize those. You can do that later after the publish date, but you're not going to be able to do that during the unpublished window, so to speak. So it will be unpublished until the folder opens, and then once it opens, they'll be able to access this. So I have my sedimentary rocks. I can add all my other custom folders, whatever I want to do. So that's one way to organize your class. The next way to organize it, and it's the way that I prefer, honestly, for most of my courses, is to go date by date. So I'm actually going to go to a different course and show what that looks like. So I go to my Sandbox. So for those that are not familiar with Schoology, Sandbox is the term we use for an open access course, a course that has no students in it or anything really important in it, where you can play around and you can add your stuff. You can make folders and do all these things, because within Schoology, you can just move things back and forth. So this is my Sandbox, where I like to try new things that's in an area that won't destroy someone's grade or change anything very significantly. So you can see I've already built out my courses for the year. And so I'm going to click on HTML paper. And what you'll see is I have everything broken down by quarter. So I have my courses by quarter. And then within there, I have an overall folder for assignments. So any assignment that I create will go in this folder for the quarter. So all assignments will live in one area. That just makes it easier for makeup work. I highly recommend that. It makes it easier for students to access things at a later date. Even if you're moving them from the original folder to that assignment folder at the end of the quarter, it makes your life so much simpler at the end when you're looking for people to finish assignments or find assignments that they may not have completed. And then everything is broken down week by week by week. And I actually have them publishing on the day that the week starts so that they can access that folder only on the start date of that week. So at 7:30 on Monday, this folder will open up and they'll be able to access all the materials within them. I don't have anything in them at this moment, so I'll start posting my assignments and lectures and things like that in there as we get closer to the year, but I have everything built out so that when it comes time to start, everything is there and waiting, and my students can just access the materials. So that's one way. I do it timely, so I do it in an order of quarters, weeks, and days, just for the sake of, that's how I like to run my course. I tell my students when they come in and sit down, okay, open up to week 1, open up to August this week, go to today, Monday, January 4th, whatever the day is, and complete the work that's in there. It just makes it easier for me to reference it during class time. But again, you may be a person that prefers units, and I do have a course that runs better with units, the AP seminar course, where I'll say, okay, we're talking about annotated bibliographies today, so go to the annotated bibliography folder and work on the assignment in there. So there are courses that are more conducive to a unit structure, and there are courses that are more conducive to a timeline structure. So that is just completely up to you and your preference. But again, the message to take away from here is when you're setting up your course, get your folders together at the start to make it easier. And it's also something great for your students to see on day 1 so that they know where to go when they're looking for things within your course. And it's not every time, wait, where did you go? Where did you go? If you allow them to see the folders at the start, they're going to get in the habit of going to those different locations and be able to access their materials more. So again, just a real quick refresher. I've set my picture. I want to add my folders. I click on Add Materials, click on Add Folder, and I'll set up all my folders for the year using all the settings that I need to use. And that is how to set up your course. In the next video, we'll talk more about how to use all these other items in here. So stick around and see you then.